Okay, now let's talk about economics. For me, the key to this is to develop a solar system that people purchase because they want to, not because they think it's an environmental necessity. You can't save the world by putting solar power cells on your house. But if you can radically improve the economics of your family by using a system like this, then it becomes something that you are interested in doing, not because you're trying to save the world, although you'll help, but because it is of great benefit to you now. So economics is, unfortunately for some of you, a big deal. It's the reason why you don't see solar power on every house and every business now. So let's see what we can do with Sundancer. There are two different cases we're going to evaluate here. One is first called off-grid. This is where you are going to install a system in your house or for your business that allows you to disconnect completely from the power company. You can tell them to go pound sand, take a flying leap at a rolling donut, or whatever else you might like to say to these people, but you don't need them anymore. All right? That's what off-grid means. You're going to disconnect from the power company entirely. You're going off of the grid. Now, at this point in time, solar is extremely expensive to go off-grid, and it's practically impossible to go off-grid in a way that doesn't have radical effects on your lifestyle. The reason is because the sun doesn't shine all night, obviously, and it doesn't shine all day, every day. I mean, right now it's cloudy outside. The fact of the matter is that on a day like today, you're not having much power come out of a solar power array because it's cloudy out. When it's raining out, solar power arrays do almost nothing. So the weather is very, very much a factor in anyone who's trying to go off-grid. For off-grid people with photovoltaic systems that exist today, you have to have an extensive battery system to store the power. And although the solar power industry likes to act like this is okay, the simple truth about batteries is that when they're out in the environment like this, they have a life of about 4 years, and that's it. And what that means is that you have to replace, first of all, the array is very expensive, and secondly, it has to be replaced every 4 years. That is one of the principal reasons why off-grid solar is extraordinarily inconvenient. All right? That happens to be the second inconvenient truth. We have one inconvenient truth, that carbon emissions are causing issues with the climate. The second inconvenient truth is that there hasn't been much actually able to be done about it with the equipment that was available. So now, can Sundancer, the hybrid Sundancer, the one that runs 24 hours a day, regardless of the weather, can that system actually be able to provide an effective off-grid solution? And I believe the answer is yes. And the reason is it runs 24/7, and it does not require battery storage. That's a big deal. Now, we talked about that earlier, and we'll talk about that some more as we go on. But when you have a system that will run 24/7, and it will run at full power. Now, you have a house, or you live in an apartment, or whatever, but your home has an electrical service, and that electrical service has an amp rating. The average middle-class American home is going to have an amp rating of 150 or 200 amps. That's average. Bigger homes have bigger systems. Small homes have smaller systems. All right? But let's talk about a 200 amp off-grid system. The reason why it's 200 amps is because what happens if your air conditioner comes on at the same time that your stove is on, which is the same time that your oven is on, which is the same time that your dryer is on. You got all your major appliances running at once. All right? That's why you need a 200 amp service for a medium to large size middle class home. Is not because you're going to use 200 amps all the time, but because what happens if there's a 3-minute period when you got everything on? Your water heater's running, everything. Okay? They do not want you to have to decide to turn certain things off. All right? So the size of the service has to do with the size of the HVAC system and all the various appliances, and those are the things that determine how big your service is. So let's take a 200 amp service. A 200 amp service is usually going to end up with on average, is going to end up with a power bill of about $325 a month. Right? So that's what you're going to pay your electric company per month. Right? Now, if you look at that times 12 years, that is, well, first of all, let's remember something else. Power bills tend to go up on a average of about 3% a year. You know, we got notified just the other day in the press that our electric company was filing for a rate increase. Actually, the rate increase that they're looking for right now is 11%. That's what they're looking for right here in our community right now. But on average, over a 10-year period, and if you look back over the last 50 years, about a 3% on average increase on an annual basis is about what you can expect. So if we look at a 12-year life of a system, okay, 325, and you include a 3% increase, you're going to end up spending $57,000 for electricity from the power company if you did it over 12 years. Now, I'm using 12 years because we actually will design Sundancer, the Sundancer hybrid system, to have a 15-year life. But when you design it to have 15-year life, you may not quite hit that. So we figured for practical purposes that we're going to have a 12-year life. Okay? So if you look at Sundancer, now, at this point in time, we can't tell you exactly what Sundancer is going to cost. We have to build a number of these things. We have to install them. We have to see the kind of manufacturing efficiencies we can get. There's 100 things we have to do before we can put a final price on this. But I've been doing engineering. If you look at the silver in my hair, I've been doing this for a day or two, and I have a fairly accurate estimate of what I believe an off-grid Sundancer will cost. And that estimate is for a 200 amp system, which is also a 48 kilowatt system. Okay, we estimate that will cost $18,000. Now, if you were to finance this $18,000 over 5 years, your payment on that is going to be $225. That's your payment. Your monthly payment for a 200 amp system is going to be $225. So right off the bat, all right, you were paying the power company $325 a month, and now that's going to go down to $225. So you're saving $100 a month right off the bat with this system. You're going to make those payments for 8 years. For the last 4 years of the system, you're going to have no power bill at all. What you will have over a 12-year period is Sundancer will have cost you around $22,000, and that includes the interest that you paid during the 8 years, right? So you're going to have an energy cost over 12 years of $22,000 as opposed to buying power from the power company at $57,000. So Sundancer actually cuts the amount of money that you and your family pay for power in an off-grid application in half, actually less than half. That is the kind of economics that we believe will be attractive.